Promitto is selling shares to the public, and most of you have been calling me and even in my DM asking me what I think about it. To me, it is not about emotions and it is not about any other thing. It is a legal process. And the legal process is as follows. You know, someone like the owner of Promitto, the person who is behind Promitto, is a person I admire very much. Jimmy Kagoni is a person I keep on watching because he is an investment banker and he has done that for a very long period of time. I also admire Promitto as a company, but that is not enough for you to decide to invest in them. For you to be able to invest in such a company, what you need to look into is the legal process and whether it has been followed before you invest your money with them. And because this is a company I would love to work with, let's dive into the legal process. Number one is that Promitto must be a public company for it to be able to sell shares to the public. Remember, Section 11 of the Companies Act prohibit private limited companies from selling shares to the public. And therefore, you must ensure that Promitto is a public limited company, something ending with a PLC, because a private limited company cannot front its shares to the public because of two issues. Number one, it is prohibited by the law for them to front their shares to the public. And number two, remember that a private limited company has a maximum membership of 50 members, and therefore they cannot get to 51 members, because if they get to 51 members, then they need to convert to a public limited company, and therefore they have that capping of 50 members or 50 shareholders. If it goes beyond 50 shareholders, then it cannot be a private limited company. And it's a reason I am saying where they are right now, they are not qualified to sell the shares to the public, because I have done the company search, and the company search is showing me that they are only limited private company. They are limited private companies. Under the BRS, the searches that I have done, the BRS have three companies with the name Promitto. Number one is Promitto Holding Limited. Number two is Promitto Limited. And number three is Promitto Holding Group Limited. Let me repeat that so that you can understand. I do not want what happened to people who invested in Cyton to happen to people who will invest in Promitto. Because Cyton used similar model. They used different names, different entities with similar names, and people who are confused. They never knew the entities they were using to invest in. And therefore, in the BRS, the company registration, the business services, the business record services, this is what is in their records. Number one is something we call Promitto Holding Limited. Number two is Promitto Limited. Number three is Promitto Holding Group Limited. To me, if I was an investor, I wouldn't want to invest in a company that has many names that are similar, because this one will create a confusion unless you are very keen on the company that you are investing in. And if you look at that, they are all ending with the word limited, 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 meaning these companies are not qualified to offer shares to the public. And therefore, that is my answer. Up to that level, they are not qualified to offer shares to the public because they are limited liability companies. Number two, if you are a limited liability companies, I am seeing people getting crafty, and they are telling you we will sell shares to a certain group of members, and then we will get to 50 shareholders, and then we will register a SACCO. Before you get towards investing in such a company where they're telling you that they will register a SACCO for them to pull the deposits, for them to invest in these companies, or for them to raise money from the public using another vehicle, the SACCO, LLPs and all those things, because they are not regulated by the law, you need to ask yourself one question: whether your money will be safe when you invest using these other models. And therefore, you need to look at that idea, it is a very great idea, because I heard Jimmy saying that they have an opportunity and they have identified a bank that they want to buy for them to do the mortgage refinancing, and they want to turn that bank into a mortgage refinancing. To us legally, that adds into the complex issue of regulation here in Kenya. And therefore, it is the reason I am telling you, with those three companies, Promitto Holding Limited, Promitto Limited, Promitto Holding Group Limited, they are not qualified to sell shares to the public. Up to that level, I hope we are together. The other thing is that if they want to go ahead and raise money from the public and sell shares to the public, this is what they want. They need to do. Number one is to convert the limited liability company into a public limited company. And even after conversion, they are not allowed to directly sell the shares to the public. This is the process that they should follow for them to be able to sell the shares to the public. And I know that Jimmy is following this process. Number one is that they must, after converting, they must prepare something we call a prospector. A prospector will give you the detailed disclosures and documents and financial, the risk and any objective that they have before raising the money. These prospectors will have all the information that you require as an investor for you to know whether you will invest in that company. Remember, you're not buying an emotion. You're not buying the looks. You are buying being informed by the law and being informed by the accounts and the financial value of that company. And therefore, number one is for them to prepare something we call a prospector. And number two is to submit that prospector to the Capital Market Authority, CMA, for approval. And remember, CMA is a very key institution for any investment that you want to make, especially for investment of this nature. Ask Kagoni whether he has this certificate or authorization by CMA for him to collect money from the public. If they do not have the authorization of CMA, according to me, and where I sit, I would tell you not to invest. Remember what happened to Saiton. They had these companies that were regulated and they had companies that were not regulated. And therefore, I would ask you to know whether they have the authorization by Capital Market Authority, CMA, allowing them to sell their shares. That is after they have converted the company into a public limited company. Number three is that when they obtain the CMA authorization, they now have the authority to sell the shares to the public. According to me, if I do not get the authorization of CMA, up to that point, I am not investing with Promitto, no matter how much I like Jimmy. I am not investing in it. And therefore, authorization is very key. Before you invest, and even if they have the Capital Market Authority authorization, here is a question that you need to ask yourself. What is the value of Promitto? Who are the leaders of Promitto? And what is the background of these leaders leading Promitto? And now we are thinking, and I am assuming at this level that Promitto will be a PLC by the time they are listing to sell the shares, not listing by the time they are giving people an opportunity to invest in their shares. By then, I am thinking that Promitto is already a public limited company. And therefore, by then, you need to ask yourself, what are the books of Promitto? Remember, before they sell their shares, they must tell you this is the value of the company, this is where we are, these are the risks, and this is where we want to go. The other thing that you need to look into is that you need to ensure that the returns you are getting are returns that you can get somewhere else. Therefore, they are not extraordinary returns, because you will be lured in and you will be told that you will be given 25%. I have not seen an investment that can give you ROE of 25% here in Kenya. And therefore, they need to give you a realistic dream of what they can be able to achieve. That is point number two. Number three is that they also need to do the audits of their books. how much have they made so far, and how much will they are they intending to make when you give them your money. And therefore, up to that level, if they get the CMA approval, they have the value of the company, they have done the market analysis and the opportunities, and they have done the risk analysis, then up to that level, I'll tell you to invest your money with them. If they want to continue and get more money from the Kenyans, then they need to go to this other step. And this step involves them now listing their shares in Nairobi Securities Exchange. This is another body that will regulate them and will transform their shares into digital shares, and you can be able to open a CDS account and you start buying shares from Nairobi Stock Exchange of this company that has been listed in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And therefore, according to me, where we are is too early. They are not qualified to offer shares to the public because they are limited liability companies and not public companies. Where we are right now, they are not qualified unless they have, or they want to use another company that is PLC. They are not qualified. And it is good, I remind you, that this is not the first time we have seen such an opportunity. There was another company called the Fountain Enterprise Program, FEP. This FEP company came with the same model. We will sell you shares from our private company, limited company, and when we sell your shares, when you buy our shares, we will invest this money into housing, we will invest this money into insurance and other things, and then we will give you a return out of it. This company called FEP, they had people investing in them. They had more than 70,000 Kenyans buying shares from them. And remember, one share was going for around 400,000. They made 6 billion, and this money never got back to people. They never got their return, and this money went just like that because this company was not regulated by CMA, and they told you to join using other companies and other circles for you to have an investment in them. If Promitto want to sell shares, let it come out as a company, PLC company, that is ready to go through all these steps up to CMA level for them to start selling shares to the public. Do not listen to stories of, we want to do this using a circle, we want you to do this using an investment club, we want to use any other vehicle to raise money from the public. And before you get there, ask yourself, the money that they are raising, is it the actual capital to invest in the bank, or the money to be used to open offices, to buy furniture, to employ people? You need to understand those things. And therefore, where I am, it's too early for us to start talking about them selling shares to the public unless they have converted one of these companies into a PLC, or they have registered a PLC company with the name Promitto for them to start offering shares to the public. I know I will see Jimmy very soon. I will give you a report on where we are on this process. My name is Nderu. For this and more, continue subscribing, continue following us, and share this with your friends so that we can continue learning and continue to be together.